Hello everyone, the topic about which we are going to learn today is values and data types. Now, as you know, Java is a computer language that enables the users to communicate with the computer. It uses character sets similar to alphabets of general language. Now, what is the character set in Java? The character set is a set of alphabets, letters, and some special characters that are valid in Java language. Now, I'll show you practically. We will write a program in BlueJ. Now this will be a simple program. I open my editor window. Now always from beforehand, many statements are written in your BlueJ editor screen. You can remove them and you can write it according to your need. I'm writing a simple program to print your name. So I write over here. Now you can see these are almost similar to English words that we use, but they have got a special meaning when used in the Java environment. Now this program is used to print simply a name. Now I compile it. It shows no syntax error. That means it's error free. When I run this program, you can see this is my terminal window. It has printed the name Ashwita. Now, in this program, you can see public class P1. Then I've got my curly braces, then public static void main, round bracket, then curly braces, and system.out.println, then round bracket, double quotation, Ashwita, double quotation, closing of the round braces, semicolon, closing of curly braces, closing of another curly braces. Now, there are special characters over here, there are certain words over here, but all of them have got certain meaning in the Java environment. So now you understand the character set is a set of alphabets, letters, and some special characters that are valid in Java language. So which character set is used by Java? Java uses Unicode character set. Now what is Unicode? When the character is entered from the keyboard, a specific code is assigned by the system for its storage in the memory. And Unicode is a 2-byte character code set that has characters from almost all the human languages like English, French, etc. That is why your websites are now designed in all the languages. It can be in Hindi, it can be in Odia, it can be in French because of the Unicode. Now, what do we understand by token? Token can be defined as each individual component of a Java program in such a way that it carries some meaning and takes part in effective execution of the program. Now, what are the types of tokens used in Java? They are literals, identifiers, keywords, separators, operators, assignments, and punctuators. Now, you can see this is a simple program to print the values into variables. Here you can see the public class, int, void main, these are called as my keywords. Now P1, A, B, these are my identifiers. They are represented in yellow color. 5, 6, these are my literals. In red, you can see the curly braces, the round bracket. Now these are called as my separators. Then I have plus. These are called as my operators. The dot is called as my punctuator. So you can see this is a Java program where you can see different types of tokens are there about which you will be learning in detail in this video. So what are keywords in Java? Keywords are words that convey a special meaning to the language compiler. Keywords are reserved words and must not be used as identifier names. These keywords combined with operator and separator according to syntax form definition of the Java language. Some examples of keyword are public, void, class, main, int, etc. Now, You should know this one, like we see in a previous slide. Public class together when they're used, it means class declaration. Public void main together means method declaration. System.out.println means that we are going to print a message or a value. So we understand the statement. Keywords are words that convey a special meaning to the language, like public, void, system, out, println. Now these are reserved words and must not be used as identifier name. Now, when the keyword system.out.println we write together, dot is the operator over there, it means it forms a syntax that we are going to print a value or a text. So why Java is called as case sensitive language? Now Java treats uppercase and lowercase differently. Like if you write public capital P, it will show you a syntactical error. If you write void capital V, it will show you an syntactical error. Why? Because Java is case sensitive and it deals your lowercase and uppercase separately. Now what are separators? Now they are special character used to separate the variables or characters. Some of the separators are comma. It is applied to separate multiple variables under same declaration. Then we have the parentheses, the round bracket are used to enclose any arithmetic, relational expression and parameters in a function declaration. Curly braces, curly bracket are used to define the area of a block having group of statements. Square bracket are used to enclose the subscript or the index number of a dimensional array. Now when we see this program, you can see over here, this is my separators. You can see the parentheses over here. These are my curly braces which are used for a block. You can see within this parenthesis I am displaying a message. So these are my separators. What are punctuators? Punctuators are punctuation sign used as special characters in Java. Some punctuators are question mark. It is used to represent the conditional statement. Now, conditional statement is an option, either option of if-else statement. Dot, it is used to represent the scope of a function. It means that the function belongs to an object or the class. And semicolon marks the end of a Java statement. Now we'll go back to the program. You can see, you can identify over here system dot I'm writing. It means that println function belongs to this out package. And you can see over here, I've used a semicolon, which means that this is the end of this statement. Now, what identifier? Identifier are names used to identify different building blocks of a program such as variable, methods, class, and interface. Now, if we go back to this program, you can see over here, P1 is an identifier, which means that this is a class name. So after this, whatever I write within this curly braces, it belongs to this class P1. Now here we have an identifier. A is a variable, also called identifier, which will store the value 5. B is an identifier or a variable, which will store the value 6. Now these are all names. Main over here is a keyword. Actually, main is a keyword which can be used as a function name. Exception for main. Otherwise, you can write over here sum also. You can give any name, a function name, which will be an identifier. So, what identifier? Identifier names used to identify different building blocks of a program such as variable, methods, class, and interface. Now, what are the rules for naming an identifier? Identifier names cannot start with a digit. You need to be very careful about it when you are writing identifier, that is a variable or a function name or a class name. No blank spaces are allowed in between the titles. If you want to give a blank space, you can give in place of a blank space underscore. It can be of any length. It should not be reserved a keyword except main, which can be used as a method name. No other keyword can be used as an identifier. Underscore and dollar can be used. Now, what are literals? Now, literals are constants in Java program. Literals are values that remain fixed throughout the execution of the program. We have got six kinds of literal: integer literal, which are integer values; real literals, which can hold precision point value; character literal, you need to know a single character within single quotation; string literal, a sequence of character within double quotations; boolean literal, two options are there, true or false; and null literal, the empty. Now, this is one of the questions that can come. What are character literal and other differentiate between character literal and string literal? Character literal contains one character enclosed in single quotation mark. Example, you can see within single quotation, it can be an uppercase alphabet, lowercase alphabet, or a special character, or a digit also. String literal, when zero or more characters are enclosed in double quotation, it's a string literal. You can see it starts with a double quotation, sequence of characters are there, and then it ends with a double quotation. What do you understand by escape sequences? Now, escape sequences are non-graphic characters that can't be typed directly from the keyboard. Escape sequences begin with a backslash and is followed by one or more characters. Now, there are some characters that you cannot type directly from the keyboard. So, when you write escape sequences, these are like you can see examples we have backslash t. Now remember, there's a difference between normal slash or the forward slash, which is used for the purpose of division. Backslash, it is used in escape sequences. Backslash t is for horizontal tab. Backslash v is for vertical tab. Backslash f is for form field. Backslash o is for null. Backslash r is for carriage return. Backslash n is for new line. Now we'll see this one practically. Suppose in the same statement, I'll write over here, Ashita, I have written, I write backslash t, I write over here, Netanya, then I write backslash t, I write over here, Rachel, then I write over here backslash n, Alicia, then I write over here backslash n, I write say Priyanshu. So you can see I'll compile it. No syntax error. Now when I'll run this program, you can see over here now. Can you see between Ashwita and Netanya there's a tab space, between Netanya and Rachel there's a backspace, there's a tab, and Alicia and Priyanshu they are in new line. So if you remember in our program we had written, we had made the use of backslash t, that is for tab, and backslash n, that is for new line. So these are the escape sequences. When I write in my system.out.println, I am like not typing it, but automatically using escape sequences, it is being generated. So escape sequences are characters, are non-graphic characters that can't be typed directly from the keyboard. So escape sequences begin with a backslash and is followed by one or more character. I had made the use of backslash t and backslash n in my program. Now, what do you mean by data type in Java? Data type is a type of value stored in a variable which is used throughout a program as a constant to give meaningful result. Now, depending on the data type, the type of operation can be performed on that variable. Why is it necessary to define data type in Java program? By defining data types of a variable, compiler is informed as to what type of data to store in a variable and to ensure optimum utilization of memory space. Now,
what are the different types of data types in Java? Java language uses two types of data types. Those are primitive data type and non-primitive data type. Primitive data types are predefined or built-in data types in the Java language by the developers of the language. It is further classified as numeric type, under which comes integer type and floating type, non-numeric type, under which comes character and boolean. In integer, we have int and short and long, and in floating, we have double and floating. Non-primitive type, now these are basically defined as derived data type. Why? Because these are directly or indirectly dependent on the primitive data types. They store the data values with reference to the addresses or locations. Therefore, they are also called reference data type. Examples are class, array, and interface. Now, as in a class, we define different data types. So, the class becomes the non-primitive data type or the reference data type. In the similar way, arrays, where we have a series of similar data type like string array, we can have an integer array of 10 values. So 10 values of integer data type will form an array of integer type. So array becomes a non-primitive data type because it has to depend on one of the primitive data types. Now these are referred with the help of the reference to the address or location, wherein normal primitive data type directly the values are used, whereas in non-primitive data type the references are used where the values are stored. Now this can be one of the questions. Float and double, what is the difference between them? Float provides single precision up to 6 digits. Double provides double precision up to 15 digits. Now there can be a difference of the space also. Float occupies 4 bytes in memory. Double occupies 8 bytes in memory. Similar way, you can have the difference between integer or long, integer or short. We come to the next question. What is a variable? It is the name memory location which can hold value of a particular data type. So when over here the syntax of declaring a variable is data type first we specify, then the variable name. So over here int x means x is the variable name which is of data type integer. That means all the operations that can happen on integer values can be done on the values stored in the variable x. Next we have double a comma b. Here double is the data type and the variable a and b both are of double data type. So what do we mean by initialization of variable and what is dynamic initialization? Now, the previous one was declaring a variable. In declaring a variable, you specify that the variable belongs to what data type. But in initialization, you store the value in the variable. When a variable is assigned a value at the time of declaration, the variable is said to be initialized variable. And the process is called initialization of variable. If we see integer x is called as the declaration of variable. But over here when we write integer x equals to 10, it becomes initialization of the variable x with the value 10. Similar way, float p equals to 3.14. P is a variable of float data type which can store a value of 3.14. When the result of an expression is assigned to a variable at the time of execution or the return value of a method, then it is called dynamic initialization. Now over here the difference is normal initialization or the static initialization, the value is given to the variable at the time of initialization. But dynamic initialization means during the execution of the program, the value will be assigned to the variable. Now like we see in the example, integer a equals to 5 comma b. Now integer a equals to b, a static initialization has been done of the variable a with the value 5. But variable b has been only declared as an integer data type and during the process of execution, depending on the value of a. Now we have 5. So square root of 5 will be stored in the variable b. So we understand that b depends on the value of a. So during the process of the execution, it will have the value that is there in the expression or that is assigned with the help of a return value of a method. Now, what are the difference between instance variable, class variable and local variable? Now, Let's first see the definition. Instance variables are created when the objects are instantiated and therefore associated with the objects. They take different value for each object. They are declared inside the body of the class definition. Class variables are global to a class and belong to the entire set of objects that class creates. Only one memory location is created for each class variable. When a variable is declared as static inside a class, it is also referred as static variable. Whereas local variables are declared and used inside method are called local variable. They are not available for use outside the method definition. Now, we will see practically. I create a class. Now I name it as P2. Now I open the editor window. We'll remove this unrequired lines. Now you can see I'll declare some variable inside the class but outside the method. Like A, this is an instance variable. It is declared within the class but outside the method. So it can be used by all the objects of that class. Now, one more variable I declare, I write the keyword static before. So static integer b. So this becomes my static variable or I can call it as my class variable also. Or you can call it as your class variable also. And one memory location is only created for the variable b, but for variable a, with every object, different memory locations are assigned. Now I'll declare a method. Now you need to know, remember that after the function you need to specify the round brackets. The parenthesis you need to specify that the word before it is your function. Within this I declare a variable integer c. So the variable c will only belong to this method sum. It is only existing within this method sum. So this becomes my local variable. So you can see I've just declared A is my instance variable. It is within the class but out of the methods. B, static int B is a static variable or class variable. And my integer C, which is specified within the method sum, is a local variable because its limitation is within the block of the sum method. So instance variable, with each object a new location is created. But for class variable, it is having only one location for all the objects. Local variable, it is declared within a particular method. Now, what do we understand by the R value and L value? The R value is known as the read value. It refers to the data value stored at some location in the memory. The L value, it refers to the address in the memory at which its data value is stored. Now, you need to know whenever we create a variable, in the memory of the computer, a space is reserved for that variable. Now, the address of that space, of that memory, is called as my L value, and the value that is entered by the user is called as the R value or the read value. So L value, it is given by the system in the memory location's address. R value is given by the user that is entered by the user. So what do you define? What is a constant? Constant are values that do not change during execution of the program. Like in the example, a equals to 5 into b. Here 5 is the constant. For all the variables, the b might have different values during the execution of the program, but the value 5 will remain constant. Now, what is the use of the final keyword? A final keyword before the variable declaration makes it a constant. Henceforth, we can't change its value in a program. Like if I write final double GST 5.7, then GST's value cannot be changed during the execution of the program. Again, we'll see it with the help of an example. Practically, I write over here final integer d equals to 9. So d is my final variable. Now, suppose you can see, I'll change the value. A equals to 8, I'll write b just to b, I'll specify as 9. C, I'll specify as 10. And D, I'll give the value 11. Let's say. Initially, we can have A as 1, B as 2, and C as 3. Now, you can see I have initialized my instance variable, my static variable, my local variable, and D is my final variable. So now I'll compile it. Now, okay, there's an error over here. You can see non-static variable cannot be referenced from a static context. So if I remove this static keyword, you can see when I compile it, now that error is done. Now that will be studying later on when we'll come across static, maybe in your further classes. But over here we'll see why static variable cannot be referred within a, why non-static variable cannot be initialized within a static method. Now over here you can see it is mentioned D cannot assign a value to variable, final variable D. You can see D I had declared as final variable by writing the keyword final before it. So you can see the instance variable, the static variable, the local variable can be given a new value within the execution of the program. But once you declare a variable as final before it, it becomes a final variable, it cannot take any other value. Now these are few exercise. Identify the type of token. The first one within single quotation A, it's a character literal. Class, it's a keyword. Plus is an operator, and your semicolon is a function. Thank you.